Okay.
Okay. Well, welcome. No name for this podcast yet.
Not yet.
But
Open to suggestions.
yeah. But so my name is Eric Moreno. I'm with Native Texan Two Step. I have a dance company, and this is
Keighley Voorhees, resident two-step liaison.
yeah.
Let's go with that.
So yeah, to start off, like, why did we get started doing this? What are we doing here? Essentially, yeah, it's you and I have had a lot of conversations like when we hang out, and it's all centered around dance because this is our life.
Yes.
Dance
our
is life.
passion.
Yeah.
Dance is life
Yeah.
for many people in the dance scene. All of you new dancers know it's all you want to talk about. Connecting to your normal non-dancer friends is just not really sparking joy anymore.
They don't get it.
They just don't get it. We want to talk about dance all the time. If we're not dancing, we want to talk about it.
Yeah, so that's why we're converting everybody to like
Yes.
oh, you're cool. I like you. You should come dance. Yeah.
Yes.
So so yeah, anyway, on our on our personal chats, hangout time, we almost always are talking in relation to social things around dance.
That's right.
So
Unless you're just, referring to how good looking you are at all times and how everyone thinks you're so good looking.
yeah, that's I have it on playback. I have my friends send me memos about that.
Exactly.
Like,
Testimonials. Can I have a
Yeah.
testimonial? Not for my dance studio,
yeah, just tell me how lovely I am. So the reason for this is like we have a lot of those conversations. They end up being quite deep,
Mhm.
and honestly, we always end up at the end of that are like, man, why was that not recorded?
I know. They need to hear it.
Yeah, they need to hear this. So essentially, that's why we're here, just doing something about it finally. And because I think the community, especially, I'm a dance instructor and I feel like I'm one of the leaders in this community that people look up to. And I think it's important to make sure that people are getting the resources they need because I feel like I help out the community in certain ways and I'm profiting off of that. So absolutely, I need to be giving back in those
You
ways.
must give back.
It's very important to me.
Yes.
So essentially, yeah, I think there's going to be fun stuff around this,
Yes.
personal stuff, and then like dance tips and dance etiquette. And so I think, so putting some kind of fillers out there on Instagram. The strong, solid feedback is that people are really wanting some social etiquette and how to navigate the community.
Yes. Huge influx of new dancers in the scene. And with new dancers come different new issues, pain points, new and old ones that we're always going to deal with in the scene. But I think since Two Step has really hit a trend pretty hard this past year or two, a lot of the old dancers in the scene, not old, but veteran dancers in the scene are having issues with the newer dancers and some of the etiquette that is maybe not being taught in the group lessons just due to the nature of a group lesson. You can't really go over the nuances of things like that.
Right.
So it's nice to have an outlet to give information to all these new dancers and set them straight.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, good point. And it's like there's so many people. Shout out to Vanessa, Double
Hell
or
yeah,
Nothing.
Vanessa,
is like
our girl.
Yeah, it's like really helping the community, and so it's kind of like we all help each other in different ways. So I feel like for a lot of people, that's like the first kind of entrance into the dance scene. And so kind of how you're saying the nature of it's really hard in an hour lesson to discuss some of the nuances and even a lot of the social things. And I know we all, as teachers, try to do that, but I think it's like even more apparent that it's really necessary to maybe even more important than some of the other things that we're teaching.
Oh, yeah.
So, with that being said, for sure, like my whole brand is like this boutique, let me be your guide and guide you through the whole thing. So it's very common for me to kind of like before we even step foot on like in the actual studio, we have a little setup in my living room and have a little discussion, and it's like, cool. What are your questions around some of the social things? What have you been encountering? And I think because a lot of people think that like dance is it's like, oh, it's like left foot here, put your right hand here. It's like such a small fraction of what a dancer is actually thinking about and
Oh,
feeling.
1000%. And what makes a successful, enjoyable dance for both parties
Right.
has less to do with the actual steps or moves of the dance. It has to do with the interpersonal connections and the respect and
Totally.
the care and the empathy within that dance.
Right. And so I think I try to relate that to my new students because a lot of times they are coming to me and I'm asking them, like I said, we sit on my couch and then like, cool, what are you hoping to learn from me? Is
Yeah.
like usually one of the first questions I ask. And it's always like for leads, men in particular, they're usually like, I just need more moves. I just need more moves. I feel like I'm boring. And so part of that is like there's like that's kind of the tip of the iceberg. Like
Mhm.
it's like going deeper,
Yeah.
like why do you think you need more moves,
Mhm.
and it's like kind of feeding their ego and it's kind of like, well, I think I'm boring. And so there's a lot of um anxiety around
Yeah.
trying to perform for other people. And so one of the very first things is like, well, let's take that. And I totally understand it. And there's no judgment around that. And also, let me help guide you to like maybe redirect that energy into something else.
Yeah.
And
We
so,
got to unpack all the baggage.
totally.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, some people unofficially, not saying that at all, I don't want to get into legal trouble, but people a nickname for that is like they say like I'm a dance therapist,
Oh, yes.
and it's
Yep.
because like yeah, I absolutely go there. It's not just like what are you like tell me about this dance thing. It's like what are you feeling? Like tell me why. And so a lot of that is like yeah, we're like usually seeking some validation
Mhm.
in those dances in that social scene and there's like so many things that kind of come up for us that like get amplified
Oh
in
yeah,
our dance.
triggers and wounds. It's like if you don't think it's there's a psych base to this,
Right.
then you're crazy.
Yeah.
Because it's all, rejection, validation, triggers, intimacy. There's so many communication.
Right.
There's so many things that have a psychological element to
For sure.
living your life, but especially dancing in when you're having these little bursts of very intimate interpersonal connections for 3 minutes at a time on the dance floor.
Yeah, it just amplifies everything being
Yep.
chosen. So in particular for
Yeah.
women, I think it's like usually follows and like I said, women in particular outnumber the amount of leads.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore it automatically puts y'all in a position where you are waiting to be chosen.
Yeah.
And I
Gross.
think that sucks. That
We don't
sucks.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so a lot of that is like, it's unfair. That's the reality. And so, I try to teach, that's why I put on the Switchy Woman series last year.
That's
and
right.
it's like to help fix that. It's like, there's a lot of poor behavior
Mm-hmm.
and let's face it, by men.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of that is like, not everybody is bad just 'cause or like some of it's ignorance and
Yeah.
part of that is like cool who's modeling this behavior
Mm-hmm.
and so absolutely you come to a private lesson you'll learn real quick because I'm going to tell you all those things
Yeah.
and be like this is the scenario, this is the perspective of because my close best friends you included, right? Like I have these conversations with you all the time so
Oh, yeah.
I'm like I'm very aware of what's going on and the privilege of that I have.
That's right. I'll
And
tattle on anyone.
yeah,
If they're not your student even, I'm just like, hey, this challenge came up.
right.
Like, let's talk about it.
Totally.
You know.
And so I think those are the things that like I'm very connected to that. And so part of me like having a platform and being a person that hopefully people respect, by the way I handle situations
Yeah.
and kind of walk through this scene. I think it's important to model that so that way somebody does have something to compare to because I think the reality is so I've been dancing in this dancing for 10 years. I'm an
Nice.
OG
Veteran dancer.
for sure. But even before that, there's like a whole class of like my brother and a lot of other
Oh, yeah,
really
20, 30, 40 years. There are
Right.
people in the scene who have 50 years even.
Yeah.
There are people in the scene who have been here through it all.
Right. And so I think, but specifically with like White Horse and that kind of like like, yeah, like I'm not even the OG in that, right? It's like,
Not even close.
right. So it's like we all can learn from some of the veterans. And part of that is it's really challenging to have conversations in a really loud, noisy environment. So,
Yep.
that's why a lot of the social interactions, have been like, it's like, oh, I kind of know their name, like we say what's up. They're friendly, and
You're
that's
like, I've known them for 7 years and
right.
I'm not 100% on their name.
Yeah, what do they do outside of this? No clue.
No idea.
But I think so, kind of bringing up this, like, it's most dancers. So if you're stepping into this dance scene, it's really interesting to think that's like, oh, they've been doing this their entire lives. Most people, I would say, going out on the dance floor now have only been dancing for like a year and a half or less.
Yeah.
I would say is the majority of the people.
I think that's true. I started dancing a little over 2 years ago, and even I'm seeing so many people that I don't recognize, and I go out dancing all the time. So I should technically know who they are, at least have recognized them before, but all of these new come ups in the dance scene, they're just everyone's excited, and that's a good thing, but also sometimes it needs to be tempered with some foundations
Right.
and things that really just ground you as a good, respectful, safe dancer.
Yeah. And so what I will say is, like, with these kind of newer class of dancers, like maybe 2 years ago or so, it like definitely started changing this community in, I think, a good way, in that, like, most of the time dancing was like, yeah, just like that, like, cool. You maybe have a few of the friends that you might hang out with, but not really, there's a community of dancers, like, cool, this is like, like church for a lot of
Yeah.
people, and this is where they always show up, and this is kind of like a normal place to be social. But outside of that, not really, and it's not until, like, I noticed probably like 2 years ago, probably whenever you kind of started showing up in my life. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting
wonder
connection there.
that, yeah, like, people were really valuing the community more, right? And so, like, let's do things outside, because for sure, like, I think for a lot of new dancers, there is this, like, I can't approach, like, those are like the really good dancers. They're like unapproachable, or like they're the cool kids, And
Yeah.
so, yes, I am very cool, but I'm also very approachable.
We don't bite. We're very nice.
So I think having that of, like, no, this isn't like just for status or anything like that. It's like, and to be fair, yes, a lot of people do enter into get social currency around that,
1,000%. Again, it's the validation machine.
Yeah. So I think, so anyway, talking about a lot of these, like, social etiquette and community and what it's about is really important, because I think, because everybody is so new, and, like, how many people are actually having these conversations, or where is this modeled? This is like, it's very new to even have dance videos of us, that, once again, with this other class of, like, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, that's whenever it started being introduced.
Yeah.
I have very few videos of me dancing when I started, because it wasn't a thing. It was like, nope, you put your phones away. It was actually considered rude to.
Oh,
to have that.
totally. I've had people mention that about the dancers who have been dancing more a decade or longer. They're like, what is this? Like, don't. At first, they were resistant, and then they see how magical it is to document
sure.
it, because
Totally.
that's how I view it. It's
Totally.
I'm documenting. I'm a documentarian. It tracks your progress too, especially for new dancers.
Right.
You can see, oh, look at this video of me from 4 months ago, and look at this video of me from last night. Look at the progress. That's so cool.
Yeah. So I think I think it's a very helpful tool. But also it could be carried away sometimes.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely that.
And so let's talk a little bit about, so discussing some of the social stuff we kind of have mentioned before around, like, yeah, the validation, and that, like, who are the people that are usually coming into this dance scene? Where are they coming from? Tell me what your thoughts are. Why did you come into
thoughts?
it?
Yeah. Well, as you mentioned previously in some of our other conversations, a lot of people start dancing because of heartache. And that happened to me. I went through a really crazy breakup, and I just wanted to be out and socialize somewhere where I didn't necessarily need to be drinking, but somewhere that had energy and music and just socializing. I could meet new people, not for dating, because I was off dating for a full year after that breakup, which was great for me, but somewhere to also get that physical touch. It's just the physical touch and intimacy factor of it just does so much for your brain. It is
For sure.
serious. If you're not dating at all and you're not getting that intimacy and physical touch, that's a major like joy, just opportunity for joy, and it does something different to your brain chemistry. So all of those things, the magic of the live music, the friends, the friendship, dances are collaborative and artistic. It's creative expression. It's not just, physical contact, but we are athletic. We are athletes. We're sweating together. We're bonding. The community. There's just so many factors that check all the boxes for everyone, which is why you can see the magic when you first step foot in the dance scene.
Yeah.
So I got off that breakup. I started dancing, and I was like, oh, game changer.
For sure. I think it's so common
Yes,
for like,
totally.
why are you, like I said, I ask my students, cool, like what brought you here, you know? And it's almost always well, I got out of a relationship and I wanted to work on this new skill. It's like, I've always wanted to dance, and now, or I popped into the White Horse and I was like, whoa, what's happening? It looks magical.
Yep, that's right.
And so, I think they're looking for some, like, what I think is really cool about this scene is it's exercise that, is not, and social, like super social, without having to basically, like, let's go to a bar and just drink and kind of just like hang out. This is like you're actively interacting, and it's like, it's really fun. But that's for sure why a lot of people get into it. So, so on that topic, let's talk a little bit about, I suppose, like dating or what it's like. And I think there's a little bit of, there's some people that are like, do not date anybody.
Don't do it. Don't ever do it. It's not worth it.
And there's some people who are like, no regard for anything, just like full send.
Full send.
So, what are your personal thoughts on this?
Well, usually I would be a don't do it ever, 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 like under any circumstance. Obviously, I have done it several times over, and that's why I feel this way.
Right.
However, just use the scene for good and not for evil, and
agreed.
Don't be an a-hole about everything. Sorry, I'm like, are we cussing on this podcast?
We can, whatever.
Don't be an asshole about it. Communicate and be a good person, and I think you can do it right, for sure. That being said, you will see this person all the time if things go south, and you will see them with their body on other people's bodies all the time. So, like, that's the risk that you're weighing. But on the other hand, the flip side of it is dating someone that you can share this hobby with and dance with and dance intimately with when you are romantically involved is a magical feeling and thing, and it's like nothing else. So I'm usually like, don't do it unless you really know you're gonna really date.
Right.
Because the whole messing around in between stuff is what gets you into emotional turmoil in this dance scene.
Totally. Yeah. And around that in particular, having, I have students, the same thing. Like sometimes they're coming to me and it's like, so I thought it was a great way to meet people. And specifically, early on, I had mostly men looking to lead. And so a lot of people thought I was a dating coach because it's like, yes, I'm helping them, but also I want to use my skills for good and not evil. And it's actually, I filter my clients. It's specifically for that reason. I have no interest in teaching somebody to be a better dancer that is like an attractive skill, to basically use it as a tool to manipulate women. Yeah. Not interested.
Which definitely happens in the scene a lot.
For sure. So having some guidance around that, it's like, well, actually, what are you looking for, right? And so I think even just around my personal experience of like, I got into dance for sure. It's hard to not notice that there's a lot of very, very beautiful,
Oh, of course.
attractive people in this dance scene. Um, but legitimately, I'm an athlete. I've done boxing and soccer, like, pretty high level and competitive for some of the sports that I did. And it's like, yeah, I enjoy like, I want to get better. Let me see. It's like for my personal drive, I just want to see, like, I want to be the best.
Oh, of course.
Not to show off. It's like for me because I'm like, it's a challenge,
Yeah.
And I think that those are also younger, stupid ambitions.
Sentiments. Yeah.
It's
You're like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Just have fun. That's actually how you win the game.
Totally. And
Yeah.
so, for sure, like my brother, him and I were musicians together, and he was in the dance scene, and he kind of brought me into it. And then it was like, man, he looks so good and smooth dancing. Like, I want to look like that, And so that was my drive to kind of get better, and I hope to look that smooth one day.
Yeah.
And so anyway, then I had a girlfriend, a long distance girlfriend at the time, and still I was very good about my boundaries. And then let's be honest around some of that. It's like having the validation of these very beautiful people want you and want to be part, like coming up to me and asking me to dance. And so it felt really good to be wanted in that
Sought
way.
after,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like, and so I will say I did a probably poor, like we make mistakes, right? And so looking back for sure, I think I had some blurred lines, gray area that was like, oh yeah, like I'm in a relationship. See, I'm not doing anything, right? I'm like, it's not like I'm asking for their number. I'm not sleeping with anybody, kissing. It's like, but to say like flirtation, which also flirtation is fun. Like I'm not saying.
And flirtation can be part of your and all of our personalities too.
Totally.
So that's also some gray area where
Right.
it's like we're flirting with our friends.
Totally.
But I think we all do know
right
when it crosses a line.
When it crosses the line,
Yeah.
whenever like you have ulterior motives, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the idea that I don't think I was, like, in my mind at the time, not doing anything inappropriate because I wasn't crossing certain boundaries of like, okay, I didn't kiss anybody, I didn't have sex with anybody. But I think that kind of navigating in a way that's kind of like turning it up a little bit, right?
Turning the dial.
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? You have these, like, if you don't know better, there's like, what's the difference between normally whenever you have this closeness with somebody, it's romantic or sexual chemistry.
Yeah.
Like, what other spaces are you doing this, right?
Yeah.
And since then, definitely learned there's dance chemistry. It's
Yes.
it's like so similar, and yet there's some nuance and very different,
It is so nuanced. I've definitely had dances where I don't think I particularly have chemistry with my partner at all, but we'll have dances where I'm like, whoa, did we just fall in love?
Right.
Like, are we in love now? And then we go, okay, that was so much fun. And then we walk away and I don't think twice about it ever
Right.
again. But I'm like, I don't even think I have chemistry with that person.
Right.
Just human to human.
Right.
But the magic of the dance happens and you're like, oh, something worked.
Yeah, and so I think sometimes it's unspoken, and honestly, now I would say, like, if you're a new dancer, this is a very platonic dance scene. We're
Yes.
there to be friendly, and so, like, yeah, we're getting some needs met with, like, the social stuff. Like, this is a space to get safe platonic touch, right? Connection
Exactly.
with other humans, and also don't confuse it and don't assume that it's going to be that it's all romantic or sexual just because you had a very lovely dance with somebody.
Right, exactly. If I projected that in that moment, if I had projected all my stuff onto that person, that would have been insane.
Right. Yeah. And so that's what I'm saying. I think there's a lot of gray area, and it's like, and I'm saying, and myself included, I don't think I was as aware.
Yeah.
So part of that is having these conversations to just assume no. And part of this is, I think, a lot of these social issues that are kind of happening in this dance scene, that there's essentially, we don't have a space to talk about it. We don't have a script of like how to say that, right? There's like I've been in this scene a decade, and I still feel uncomfortable saying some things like, as an example, it's still work when I go out social dancing. You
Yeah.
very rarely see me.
I almost never see you out social dancing.
Yeah, and it's because I'm mostly in my private lessons, and it's a little bit of a trade-off. But when
That's
I
right.
go, it's like, yeah, I want to see my friends. Of course, I love like seeing so many of my students and um, interacting and socializing with everybody. I love that part, and also like I'm usually there for like an hour.
Yeah.
So you know, dances are 3 minutes long. There's only so many dances, so part of those like things for me that I struggle with sometimes are like, what if I'm so tired, I'm so burned out from like dance. I've been dancing all week, you know?
That's right.
So how do you turn down a dance just because like I'm just tired? Like, how does that make me look does it make me look stuck up of like, oh, well, you're a dancer. You just don't want to dance because you don't know me. Like there's a
Right.
lot of that kind of stuff. So obviously, even just like for other reasons, it's just a kind thing to do to like try to accept dances with new people,
Oh, yeah.
right? And give them an opportunity, and it's fun. It gives me an opportunity to learn more, you know?
Yeah, you'll always learn something from dancing with someone, with anyone of any level. You will always learn something, even if it's something about yourself, even if it's your own boundary,
Totally.
even if it's something you don't like, even if it's something that you realize that you can communicate clearer in your own dancing. Whatever it is, you will learn something from every single dance if you are open to it.
Yeah. So with that being said, there's not a lot of conversations that happen around how to turn down a dance, how to navigate some of these kind of awkward
They are really
situations.
awkward and nuanced because there are so many reasons why you might not want to dance with someone at some particular time. You might not want to dance with them to a fast song, but you'll dance with them to a slow song
Right.
um, or a billion other reasons. Maybe
Right.
you're tired. Maybe you have an emotional trigger that has nothing to do with them, and you just don't want to dance that song. Or
Right.
you have your eye on another lead for your special song that you dance together, or
Yeah.
you don't personally like this person,
Yeah.
or there's so many reasons, and it can get really tricky.
Yeah, and the main thing that I try teaching is once again talking about how women are usually on the sidelines waiting because there's not enough leads, right?
Yeah.
And so having to wait to be chosen sucks. And then on top of that, you know, yeah, like I've been around a lot of people know me in this dance scene that I can kind of just post up and people are going to ask me to dance,
Yeah, no
and
worries for you.
right.
Yeah.
And so thinking about how my students, that's a totally different scenario. So I
True.
try to teach them, especially leads, to let's get used to being rejected. It's okay.
Mhm.
To not take it personally. And so if I get rejected from a dance, to not immediately, storm off and be like, well, fine
Mhm.
then, and I think I've definitely heard stories for sure of like personal friends where, specifically women, turning down a dance and then being called a bitch or,
Yep.
being like dirty looks the rest of
Yep.
the night.
Scoffing. I've been scoffed at.
Yeah.
I have lots of people scoff. I'm like, whoa, I'm tired.
Yeah. So honestly, I would say it's good. Get used to practice saying no, say no, thank you. And honestly, how somebody reacts to your no is
You get so much information
right,
from that
for
interaction
sure. And
about
so
who that person is.
yeah, so I teach like if you are being rejected from a dance, honestly, there's gonna be like I say, ask 5 people, you're for sure gonna get a dance. Doesn't matter
Oh,
like
yeah.
what skill level. I
Yeah.
think you ask 5 people, you can totally get a dance from that.
Yes.
And so yeah, I don't know if they're tired, if it's a polka or waltz, they can tell that it's different and they're not really comfortable dancing those.
Mhm.
The tempo of the song, maybe it's too slow and intimate, maybe it's
Mhm.
too fast and they can't keep up, right?
Yep.
There's a lot of different reasons, and so I'm just assuming like, well, they'll tell me if it's something that I need to know.
Mhm.
Otherwise, cool, no, thank you. I'm gonna move on, and then I'm going to ask again later.
Yep.
And unless they specifically said like, I'm also reading some body language and cues there. So
Yes,
I
so
think
much in body language that I think a lot of people just ignore. Or they don't see. Maybe they don't have the eyes for it, but
right,
there are definite situations that I have witnessed, and I know a lot of us have witnessed from afar and just it's been like, whoa, read the body language on
Right.
that one. you
Yeah,
know?
and honestly, I think that there's like, you know, men don't very little emotional intelligence most of the time, you know, myself included until a few years ago. Like I lived a very different life, and
Gotta work at it.
yeah, and part of that is because of, you know, and this is what I'm saying, understanding that there's nuance and kind of like leaving room for people to grow
Yeah.
safely, like creating a safe environment, nurturing that, right? And so to be fair, it's like, yeah, I think absolutely, um, yeah, let's treat each other with like, and to pay attention to those things.
Mhm.
And growing up, you know, somebody asking, well, how do I feel? As an example, it's like, I can remember like a handful of times in my whole adult life, like literally, I think less than 5,
Yeah.
until recently when I started asking for it, you know?
Like, can you check in?
Right. And so part of that is like, yeah, like typically men are going to be disconnected because nobody's ever asked about their internal world or at that. So they're
Mhm.
just focused on like, do this, achieve the, you know, and that's what I'm saying, even with how I started, right? It's like,
Yep.
achieve the goal, do the thing, be the best I can be. Right. And the reality is like, actual slow it down and connection. That's what we're actually,
That's what we're asking for.
right.
That is what is begged of the dancers of the scene, you know?
Totally. That's what
Seriously.
makes a good dance.
It does.
And so having some room, and so like I think we need to do a better job of paying attention and reading that and asking and having just more clear communication around it. So going back to turning down a dance for any sort of reason, what's your go-to,
Oh,
or how do
man.
you, what kind of advice would you give around that?
I like you try to not turn down dances.
Mhm.
There are only a few reasons why I would turn down a dance, and let's see, why would it be? One's like a personal reasons, like I
Mhm.
just don't vibe with that person, or I had a poor dance experience with them previously, and I
Mhm.
just won't dance with them anymore. That's definitely something that's on the rise. But sometimes I'm just tired, or yeah, I don't care to dance with someone to like a polka or a waltz when
Mhm.
they're, you know, they can't carry the dance through, or I'm just tired or whatever.
Right.
My go-to usually in those scenarios too is just to turn them down and then iterate that I will come and find them
Mhm.
for the next dance when I'm ready, because I do want them to know that it's not a no forever,
Right.
and I do want to dance with them, just not that specific dance.
Yeah.
That's my way to just ensure that the feelings are preserved there and
Right.
they know they don't get discouraged, especially if it's a newer dancer. I
Right.
don't want that rejection
Right.
to, because it is rejection.
Totally.
Even if it's like, no, I do want to dance with you, not to this one, that's still rejection.
Right.
Like that hurts.
Yeah.
It can hurt.
I feel nothing. I'm just
I feel
kidding.
nothing.
I
Yeah.
feel
Well, I was turned down by one of my friends when I asked her that I could lead her. I was
Right.
like, "Oh, do you want to dance? I'll lead." And she turned me down, and that was honestly the first time I've ever been turned down
Yeah.
to lead a dance.
Mhm.
And I was still thinking about it later, you know. In the moment I'm like, "Oh, it's all good." But I'm like, "Wait, why though?"
Yeah. No, I think absolutely there's like it triggers
Yeah.
abandonment and that kind of stuff for
All the
sure.
things are like, what did I do wrong? Or what have I, oh, did I dip her weird at some point? You know, I
Yeah.
just went into the empathy spiral of like, what did I do?
Right.
But she ended up coming back to me later and asking me to lead her. So that's the give and take of it. You just have to let it roll off your shoulder and just really, but to answer your question again, reiterate, I always like to say, I will find you for the
Right.
dance. Like, and so they don't have to keep coming back to me and then
Right.
risk being rejected a second time.
Totally.
And then I do follow through and seek them out for another dance.
Yeah. And I think being I don't know, something that I've learned in the mental health world, right, is
Mhm.
like being kind versus being nice.
Yes.
So even let's talk about maybe a couple of reasons why you would not want to dance with somebody, and
Yeah.
because it doesn't feel safe, right? And so
Yes.
one, I would say trust your intuition,
Mhm.
and two, I would say of like there's, as an example, people that are sometimes quite rough, right?
Yes.
They squeeze hands. People, honestly, this is like a thing for a lot of new dancers.
Mhm.
When your body gets stressed, it's like, you know, it's one of the most basic human things that like to squeeze and tighten up, right? Little babies do that, right? You like, you put your hand
Oh,
in a
y'all
little
are
finger
just
and
little
like, yeah,
babies,
right.
yep.
It's like, so Dance Daddy has you covered, right? And part of that is like, we get stressed. So I don't think it's like intentionally trying to hurt somebody,
Right.
but I have been hurt by dancers, right?
Yeah.
And so in those scenarios, usually the nice thing to do is to be like, smile through it,
hmm
don't say anything, and just like, cool, then never dance with them again, right?
Yeah, which is what I've done in a lot of cases, which I think a lot of people do in a lot of cases. If
Totally.
someone hurts you, you just, and they're not a bad person,
Right.
obviously. They're well intended, but at the same time, you're like, I am not going to risk my physical
Right.
health and safety on this person that is hurting me.
Right. And so I think kind of the flip side of that of like, yeah, there's what's the thing to do? Whatever, like they're very rough, right? And so there's I think once again, there's like understanding some nuance of like I think being nice for the other scenario, right, is to be like not say anything like they meant well, but then they never get any feedback, right? So
Right.
I think a kind thing to do is to open up some conversation around like, hey, can I give you some pointers, right? I think leads also, like you're a new lead, I think it's really good to ask for some feedback, to be like, hey, I'm a new dancer. Any feedback would be really helpful, right?
Yep.
And, the main thing is like, be much more gentle than you think. That's kind of
1,000%. There have been so many. Yeah, just I get thrown around so much, and I'm a very like tuned in reactive follower. I feel like I am. I pick up subtle nuanced cues, so it's like you don't have to give me much for me to pick up your cue. As long as it's clear, it doesn't need to be strong
Right.
necessarily. And I feel like a lot of these newer leads are strong arming everyone, and it gets really grabby and pushy, and
Right.
it doesn't feel good.
totally.
And then it's clunky. It's not a smooth, elegant dance, and it really can be. And it can, it can make you able to dance those fast dances
Right.
too, that all the new leads are all excitable about dancing.
Right.
You can't dance those successfully when you're just grabbing, pushing, throwing.
Right.
You can't.
Yeah. And I think that's where stepping into the white horse, not knowing anything about it, it's very attractive to be like, whoa, look. And that's why you're chasing moves. I'm chasing a feeling.
Yes.
And the feeling is just like, I want a smooth ride. I'm dancing to my follows ability. And so I don't need to prove that I'm a great dancer. I know I'm a great dancer.
Yes.
And part of that is not because I know 30 different moves and I can do it's like, I talk about being like a fine dining experience, right?
Yes.
Buffet is sloppy. Let me throw all the things on there, right? It's like, I've had a couple of good buffets in my
Everyone
life.
loves a buffet every
right,
once in a while.
For once in a while,
Yeah.
but most buffets, quality is kind of not that great, right? So
That's right.
having quality is really important. So it's like, cool, I only have one thing on the menu right now. And if that's my basic, then I'm going to do my basic really clearly and gentle. And that's usually going to be a very good dance. What's your opinion on that?
Absolutely. I think 90% of the follows would say that, would give that feedback. Say, I don't even mind if we stay in basic and just do a couple of turns as long as it feels good, it feels safe, and you've got me. I would prefer that dance to you throwing a billion crazy moves at me, ripping my shoulder out of its socket.
Right.
I can't keep up with you. You're dancing above my level, whatever it is. Like,
Yeah.
that is the chaotic dance, is not the fun dance. And
Right.
maybe we're laughing out of being nervous.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah. It's kind of the fawning thing.
Mhm.
And that's what I want to make sure that a lot of new leads, because men in particular, paying attention to those subtleties. And so I do have some new students that are like, well, I saw somebody, they were dancing and the person, like the lead was doing all these moves and the follow seemed to be having a good time. Like, actually, no. That's
No.
like, if you pay closer attention to the body language, they're quite stressed and they're smiling and kind of laugh. I do that whenever I have uncomfortable conversations sometimes,
Yeah, seriously though, I do it too. I've been in that scenario where I've been laughing my head off basically, but I'm just so uncomfortable and embarrassed.
Right.
And yeah, and I've gotten off the floor for one of those crazy chaotic dances where I was like, oh my gosh, I was fighting for my life.
Yeah.
And my friend's like, oh, that was so bad. And my cheeks are red because I've been just laughing, but I'm embarrassed. I was
Right.
embarrassed because also they're throwing you into other dancers and, you want to represent the community and you also you're surrounded by everyone you know.
Everybody's watching.
Everyone's watching.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my gosh, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, slap someone by accident. No, that's terrible.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a tricky scenario. So there's nuance, and so how would you know? You communicate. You ask questions.
That's
Hey,
right.
how did you feel about that dance? Like that's a very like I guess there's so much. Everybody, it's a feeding frenzy in between dance song, like in between songs, right?
Yeah.
You're like chasing the next person,
Yeah.
and I think of like spending 10 seconds to be like, thank you for the dance. I really appreciate it. That was so fun. Or
Yeah.
like, hey, would you like any feedback? Or like, hey, can you give me some feedback? I'm want to learn. Was that,
Yeah.
how did that feel for you? Great questions. Going to make you a very good dancer
Yes.
if you pay attention and absorb that. And that's the thing. It's like, don't assume you know everything.
Yes.
And so I think, going back to what happens whenever there's like a really rough dance? Like, I've kind of brought this up in some of my lessons, or like, whose responsibility is it? And so I was talking to a new student that had never seen, he was just a referral from another friend, never seen the dance scene at all, and just was like, hey, I heard you were a good instructor. So they showed up for a lesson, right? So I'm like,
Cool.
sweet. But with that being said, I was talking about the social scene and like, well, like, what if it's too rough or you're too close? How would you say it? Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, most of the time people wouldn't say anything. And you'd probably you have to start paying attention to like, are you getting rejected for a bunch of dances? Then maybe it's time to be introspective and like, it's like, am I doing something wrong?
Yes.
And
Definitely self-reflect on that. If you find that you are being turned down a lot, or a lot more than you used to,
Right.
hi, hello, you're the common denominator. Your behavior dictates that in more than 90% of the
right,
cases.
ask some questions,
Yes.
and in particular,
Be curious.
yeah. And so I think having, and so this student was asking like, well, why wouldn't the follow say something? And so I was like, he's like, well, that's who they're dancing with. And I was like, well, let's zoom out a little bit, right? Like
Right.
that's talking from a kind of male perspective. That's like, there's no consequences for me to be an asshole, essentially,
None.
right? Now we're changing
Yeah.
that.
Basically
But-
none. But yeah, accountability would be great.
Right. And so it's like, if I turn down a dance and I'm rude or whatever, it's like, cool, I go off in my life because I'm used to that, acting like that and having some privilege around it, right?
Yep.
And for a lot of women in particular, I think that it's like, once again, they're getting called a bitch or like worried about their physical safety.
Yep.
You know?
1,000%.
So-
It's just a completely different ball game. And I've talked about this specifically with a lot of my friends who are follows, and we have all said the same thing. We're like, oh, how do you reject a dance? What do you say if you never want to dance with
Right.
this person again? Are you giving them feedback? Are you telling them?
Mhm.
And in a lot of cases, we're not, and we realize that we should be. But at the same time, it's like, really what it comes down to is I am scared.
Right.
I am afraid.
Right.
So no, I don't give that feedback.
Right.
But to your point, if the leads are asking for feedback, if someone asked me in that moment for feedback, I
Right.
would absolutely give it willingly
Right.
because I have it all right there.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah, and I think that's the difference of like, we're all acting because we're all scared little babies. That's the that scenario. The difference is for a lot of men, we're scared of a not tangible problem,
Yes.
essentially.
Yeah.
Being rejected or like,
Yeah.
what do they think of me, right? Not being the best version of myself.
Right.
For women, it's physical harm is
Yeah.
the threat, and so I think we like, yes, it would be helpful if women follows basically gave direct feedback. However, I think it's the job of men leads, to have to create the environment to foster that. So part of that is like asking those questions of like, hey, I'm open to feedback if there's anything, even like when I'm asking for a new dancer for, like asking them for a dance, I can take an extra few seconds to be like, hey, is there anything that you're uncomfortable with? Are dips okay?
Yeah.
Right? That would be a
Absolutely.
way to like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing that I could request, right?
Yeah. Or
So-
deny also.
Totally.
How
And
about that?
so there's a lot of people that are like, well, not all men. It's like, yeah, but you have to understand the context in which we're talking about,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
It's like most. That's like a very common problem. I can have a few rough dances. I've had maybe like 5 in the decade that I've danced.
Oh yeah.
This is like, you have twice that in one night.
1,000%. And I would say, since I started leading, can I even think of a rough dance that I
Right.
had, really? Because I mean, you are controlling the dance, but really, I had maybe one iffy dance that I was leading where I was like, whoa, I was having problems
Right.
mitigating the space in between me and my follow, which was
Right.
a little bit funny, which is the flip side of things. But yeah, that's one in a year or however long I've been leading for. So,
Yeah.
and that wasn't even bad. It was just kind of interesting.
Yeah. So it's very different. So I think it's like leads responsibility, even more hyper focused into a subgroup. Men need to basically create the environment for
Yeah.
safety for those conversations to happen.
Exactly. Open the floor, and you are going to have to take that step and ask, because you cannot just turn it around and be like, well, they should say something if they think
Right.
that. It's like, whoa, it's exactly that attitude that is scary to us.
Right.
Like, that scares us.
Totally. Like,
yeah.
yeah, take on all the other problems that we're asking you to
Right,
take
exactly.
on. You know?
Emotional labor, like out
Right.
the wazoo all the time, 24/7. Like, hey, just especially if you find that people are rejecting you, and you don't need to sidebar it and like single people out, but you can just have a dance and be like, look, can I get some feedback on that dance? How was that dance?
Right. Yeah. And so I think, for those rough dances, it helps to have some sort of communication around it, good or
Mhm.
bad. So I think, part of it is like safety. And I think, like I said, other leads can call out other leads to be like, hey, dude, you're like taking up too much space.
Yep.
You're doing some dangerous stuff.
Yep.
Like you're being pretty rough. Like you need
Yes.
to chill it out,
Yes.
Those are the conversations that need to happen, not necessarily like they need to happen first before we can create an environment where like it's actually helping the entire like a
Exactly.
healthier dance scene essentially.
Yes, absolutely. And what I have noticed also is that a lot of leads and people do unspoken cues when they think that. I'm just thinking about you talking about leads checking leads.
Right.
I've seen leads physically check other leads on the dance floor when someone's taking up way too much space, being clunky and jerky and throwing their follow around. And then another lead will round out or elbow out kind of and check them in that way. And I'm like, is that how do we feel about that? Like
Right. I'm guilty of that on going
we've all
White
done
Horse
that.
Friday
Yeah.
night at 11 p.m.
Of
like
course.
yeah.
Yeah, like I can really round it. I'm lanky. I can make myself take up like a foot more of space or more
Right.
than that, honestly, if I want. But we dance compact. But yeah, if someone's being a dick around you, just throwing their follow around, you can kind of literally check them
Right.
with your body, in a safe, subtle way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it doesn't seem like that really does much of anything at
Right.
all.
It just exacerbates the problem
It
of
does.
frustration and like, cool, I'm gonna dig in and be like more.
Right. And then it just, all the aggression kind of builds
Right.
up. I don't think that we've all done it, but I
For
don't
sure.
think that's a productive way to deal with that. But I think a lead to lead sidebar conversation is going to do more
Right.
than that kind of nonverbal feedback.
Absolutely. Well, I know we're running out of some time. I know you got to go soon.
We got to wrap it up in a little bit. I have a little more time, but yeah. wrap it up pretty
Maybe we
quick
do
here.
some rapid fire questions.
Ooh.
Let's see. I don't have anything that I want to necessarily say, but let's talk about, well, one, okay. Just a main thing around like, yeah. To be a good lead, strong lead, does not mean forcefully doing anything. It doesn't mean 70 different turns in a dance. Having some, like, keep it simple, right?
Yep.
Have control. Like, some of the best dancers are
Yes.
not the flashy ones that are doing 5,000 moves. They're
Yep.
the ones that are, like, look relaxed and calm.
Yep.
They don't have anything to prove.
Right.
They know they're a good dancer, and it's a smooth dance.
And you feel, as a follow, you feel taken care of, you feel safe, you feel protected, and you feel like you can relax because you're along for the ride, and that's a really beautiful, magical feeling.
Absolutely. And then let's see. So let's see. We talked a little bit about dating.
Don't do it.
Don't
No,
do
just
it.
kidding.
All right. And so I would say, like,
You're on the flip side of that.
mostly don't do it. I've dated some dancers for sure. It's kind of like, yeah, you don't want to end up in a scenario that's like fighting for custody of like White Horse
Literally.
or Sagebrush or Sam's,
Literally, you do not want to be in a custody battle. It is not fun.
So, as an example of something that my girlfriend and I have talked about is like there's absolutely feelings of jealousy that like
Mm-hmm.
that come up. It's normal. So a lot of times before we get into that actual scene, like, cause like I said, it can be triggering for a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people. Um, like I said, it's no, it would be foolish to not notice that I have a lot of beautiful people around me all the time. And it's like, yeah, but they're just my friends. I don't see them like that. It's like I don't see their beauty. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Like
like what?
they're very attractive, you know? And so having that and also like being very clear about my intentions. My
Mm-hmm.
intentions is like, why am I going there? And so part of it is like we have a discussion usually in the car. It's like, cool, what are your intentions for tonight?
Yeah.
And we talk about like, well, um, a few of my students are going to be there tonight. I told them that so I mostly want to hang out with them,
Mm-hmm.
and but I want to have some like nice dances with you. So we have sometimes it's an expectation of like, cool. Let's say we have 4 dances together, right? Or maybe we haven't had a date night and
Yep.
I'm like, you know what? I want to take you out dancing. So those are the times that I'm a little bit more reserved. You'll see me kind of off in the corner.
That's right. I've
And
had nights where I'm like, wait, you're even here? Where are you? Oh,
yeah.
you're way over there. Okay, well, you find me if you want to
Right,
dance.
totally.
Otherwise, we're good, you know?
So yeah, and so part of that is just like being intentional about it. And so like if you're a new dancer and it's like cool, like totally get it. It's like it's very attractive to be in that scene and be wanted but I would just basically say to like check yourself
Yeah.
before that and like, hey, we're adults and most of us act like it. And it's like really good communication. So like, cool, you want something casual? I'm not like I would say probably not the best scene to do that in.
No.
But fair enough. You're an adult. Cool. Be very clear that that's your intention behind
Yep.
it. I think for sure you will find other people that
Yeah,
likely
they're there.
yeah, they're there,
Yep.
they're down for that.
Mhm.
But basically playing off of like I'm looking for the love of my life and this and then like and then you're with somebody else and it's like
Yeah,
not,
too many
not
offenders
cool.
of that. That's a very, very clear situation what's happening there. It's just manipulation and using the dance scene for evil.
Right. So not cool. So what I'm saying is like, cool, that's your intention. Be bold about it. Say that's what you're looking for. Cool. You're likely to find it. So
Right. People can opt in or not, but you can't take away their consent by manipulating the
right.
situation. But that's where most people get into trouble, I would say, in
Totally.
the dance scene, in the dance scenario. Of course, there will be jealous triggers within the dance scene. Even if you're not dating someone, I feel like people have favored dance partners that they deal with jealousy
Right.
issues with, which is also interesting.
Totally. I mean, and I think it's it would be foolish to say like that jealousy, not unless you're just superhuman, that it doesn't pop up. Like jealousy
Yeah.
tells you a lot of things, and part of
does.
it's like, oh, I really value this person. Usually,
Mm-hmm.
it can trigger some other things, obviously, but I think that's what it does for me. It's like, oh, like, and so it'd be foolish for me to think the things that that I'm very attracted to my partner of like, oh, because they're charismatic or they're
Yes.
like, oh, so kind, and like other people are gonna also be attracted to that.
Yep.
Now it's like once again communication of like, cool, what are their intentions? But like it's like so I think trying to keep that as clean as possible, which
Mhm.
is like being clear about it. And so I think like there's space for all the different ways. Communicate clearly around it.
I know. I'm like, okay, the theme of this pod is communication.
Yeah.
That's like the cornerstone of etiquette in the dance scene, communication.
Is there any other last final thoughts, takeaway from like, cool, there's a new dancer. What do they need to know?
Oh gosh. Be respectful.
Okay.
The one time I did not get into a fight on the dance floor. I do not suggest this at all, but there were some tourists from out of town, and the only time I had words with people, I ended up just saying, be respectful, be respectful.
Nice.
It was at Sam's, and so I was very protective, and they were being really, really, really disrespectful to all the dancers all around. But just be respectful. Be respectful of the space. Be respectful of your partner. Definite communication. Crazy dips, don't do them.
Mhm.
Like, just don't do them. And we all know what the crazy dips are. Like, we don't want feet flying. If you have the space and it's a very open dance floor, that's a different story. But for the most part, at Whitehorse, at Sam's, at Dawn's, all of these compact honky tonk dance floors
Mm.
don't lift anyone off the ground.
Yeah, you should never lift your partner off the ground unless there has been a discussion about
Yeah.
it beforehand.
Of course, consent, yes.
Right.
And there are only a handful of leads who will actually ask me if I'm okay with dips. I think it's growing because of people like you and other instructors
Been
that
planting some seeds.
exactly
Yeah.
we need to sow the seeds now.
Yeah.
But I always appreciate when, and it's, you know what, it's always the leads that I would never have a problem with them dipping me.
Right.
I'm like, oh, of course, because I trust you. You're such an amazing lead.
Right.
But they are always the ones that ask for consent.
Right.
And I love it.
Yeah.
And guess what? It takes 2 seconds and you can do it flawlessly, seamlessly in a dance before you do a dip or don't do a dip, depending on the answer.
Totally. Yeah. And if you want to be an ambassador of that and you want to
Yep.
like, cool, you're not like, yeah, but not me. So that's part of the problem. If you're like, yeah, but not me, like I don't need to do that. That's part of like be an ally for that by cool. Let me model that behavior to both like maybe another lead overhears me saying that, like,
Yeah.
oh, or same thing. Like if a follower hears it enough, probably gonna be like, oh, I feel more comfortable requesting that, even if they don't ask that, right?
You will empower the follows to
Totally.
be like, oh, I can say I don't want to be dipped,
Right.
you know?
Didn't know it was a thing. You
Didn't
just
know.
because like, yeah, what are you consenting to when you accept a dance? We assume
Yeah.
some things, right? It's like, cool, don't touch me inappropriately, not sexual. Not everybody gets that. It's not as clear to a
No.
lot of people, and so part of that is like, yeah, a couple of things for me would be like, say no, thank you. You don't have to give any sort of reason whenever like somebody's asking you, you feel uncomfortable. Honestly, you sit and watch them before to like, are they a safe dancer? Like
Yes.
watch them first. Turn down, dance down. You know?
Yeah, if you observe how someone is operating in the dance scene, even on the dance floor for a couple of songs, you will know right away
For
whether
sure.
or not you want to dance with them or not.
Yeah. So I think having the no, thank you, and leave it like that. See how people respond. That's very, very valid. Cool. Red flags pop up. Cool. You saved yourself a lot of heartache and
That's true.
good stuff, you know? And so I think, yeah, just being really aware, like how you're saying, of like be respectful. So I always am up on the top of the shoulder blade versus lower back. Lower back's a little bit more intimate. I totally get it if you like dancing with somebody in that way and slower songs, closer. But I'm always going to give the follow the option, and I'm never going to bring somebody close in. So let that be the default of there's space.
Yep.
You're going to get better connection through your framework up high and with space versus being really cramped in.
Right. And I would feel so much safer. I do feel so much safer when a lead starts that way. And then I am in control of closing the gap of the space,
Yeah.
which I do a lot of times. You know, we'll start way far away and then I close the space.
Right.
And that's great. When they start with their hand on my waist, I'm immediately triggered. I
Yeah.
immediately push their hand up. And if they keep falling, I'm like, I don't like this at all. I don't know you like that.
Right. And so I think something that should happen more, and honestly, I've been in this scenario and haven't done it. So part of it is like, yeah, part of it, once again, if it's more modeled and more common for those dangerous times, like to just walk off, great. I think that's also an option.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, there's times that you're getting tossed around. Like, yeah, it doesn't feel good. But because we kind of don't know what to do and interact, like, you know, like how to interact with that in real time, it can be quite tricky. And
Yep.
so just like, you don't have to feel bad about it. It's like, man, I should have done this. There's, you know, example for me, it's like people, random
Oh,
strangers
yeah,
touch my
your hair.
braids.
Your braids.
And it's
no.
like, I love that you love my hair and appreciate it. Cool. Like, honestly, I don't even mind if like you're like, hey, most of the time, my close friends, right? Like, cool, can I touch it? It's so beautiful. Yes. And at the same time, if I literally did that and touched somebody's head, it would be very socially awkward.
That's so crazy to think about the other way. But yeah, it's because like, but they're so long and like luscious and beautiful. What do you mean?
Yeah, you got to pay to play here, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
So once again, it's just like lines get blurred, even though it's like, cool, I'm very assertive about a lot of things. That's something that's also kind of newer. And it's like, well, if I'm rude and I don't, then like I'm placating because like, well, they're going to think I'm an asshole and it affects my business, right? There's a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So I think having like I freeze too, and I don't always do the things that I want to, even though I'm very assertive and strong. So basically, my advice is to like, yeah, this is a skill to practice and work on. and you first practice with safe people, right?
That's right.
And so be a safe person. Be
I'm
a
gonna
safe
start
person.
rejecting you every dance
Do
you
it.
ask me to dance.
Actually,
now.
that's an exercise I
That's a
do with a lot
great-
of my students.
Yeah.
I say like, cool, if you see me, I promise I'm gonna come back in 10 seconds. Like, guarantee I'll come back, but I want you to like act this out and I want you to reject me all the time.
Yeah.
So yes, absolutely. Do it. Let's practice.
Okay.
Cool.
What, right now?
No, I'm too fragile.
No, not today.
Yeah.
I'm sensitive today.
Right. So
All
yeah,
right.
I think we covered some good stuff.
Yeah, me
Obviously,
too.
there's so much more to talk about. So let's be vulnerable and put this out there and see what people think. And honestly, there's a lot of stuff like more. People wanted me to talk about dating or relationships. There's stuff that you and like the fashion icon over here.
Oh,
it's like what to
yeah.
wear, right?
What to wear in the honky tonks.
Right, to not look like a fool.
A fool, or just like the best outfits that are the best for photos or spinning or
Totally.
feeling like a princess or feeling empowered, or when it's July at Sam's Town Point,
Right. Yeah.
what to wear so you're not literally passing out.
Because I'll be wearing my jean Speedo.
Of course, as you always do.
Yeah, boots and a jean Speedo, that's it.
Signature look of the summer.
Yeah, follow me for more
Dance daddy.
dance daddy styling tips.
That's right.
So so other things to look forward to. Definitely open to feedback of like, what do you want to hear us talk about? Like, kind of my intention is to hopefully have this as an ongoing thing. I think it's going to be really helpful for the community and to basically like submit some questions. What do you want us to talk about? And have other guests and other people that you recognize, have some newbies, as well as a lot of veteran dancers, because like, it can be quite mysterious of like, who are these people, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of cool people in this scene. So
There are a lot of characters in the scene.
Yeah,
And a
so-
lot of very interesting people that like we said, we have been dancing alongside a bunch of people, or maybe you have a regular dance partner. You don't even know what they do. You don't know what their life story is. And there are some really interesting people out there who have really beautiful takes on the dance scene and how it's evolved over the years too.
yeah, so my intention is to have those people come and talk and just keep opening up conversation around this.
Yay.
So cool. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for having
Yeah.
me. Who is this? Where
I'm
are we? What are
hosting
we
you.
doing?
What are we?
Thank you
Yeah.
for Big E, my buddy over here behind the camera.
Yeah.
He's graciously given us this space to have this conversation. So really thancful for him.
Yes.
All
Shout
right.
out.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.